If you could analyze yourself going up, red flag, if they would have caught me doing this, someone would have figured out that I'm a spy. There's some
Yeah,
red
red
flags.
flag, particularly the illegal insider. If somebody's already inside, and I was an insider. I had access. I mean, and this is still that boggles my mind that they didn't bite on that. I worked for an insurance company that insured. I was in the group insurance department, and we insured employees of companies that were in the military-industrial complex. Now think about the information that was there. You have like people who work for Boeing, and they have a child who has a terminal disease for which there's cure only in another country, and money is required because the insurance doesn't pay for it. I told them that in Moscow, that I had access to that information. They didn't blink. They were that stupid.
Well, I'm excited for this one. I am honored to have him join us. This is Mr. Jack Barsky, who, by the way, I've been following forever. 60 Minutes, Lex Freeman. He's been written up all over the place. He is one of these very rare stories of a real James Bond that we get to hang out with. So, Jack, thanks a lot for hanging out with us.
It's my pleasure, and I just wanted to just like say it at the very beginning that I told you that before, but I want to go public with it. Your very existence and your network changed my life.
I appreciate that.
At a time when I thought it couldn't change anymore.
Well, I mean, you have a very interesting life. I want to dive into something real quick.
Go ahead.
What is a spy?
That's a good question. Nobody ever asked me that question. It's somebody who is very good at figuring out secrets that others want to keep.
Okay, so it sounds like a spy isn't what we would see in the movies or read about. It's more of someone that is constantly looking at puzzles, figuring out the puzzle, and then finding a solution around. So a spy is much more than what Hollywood makes it then, right?
Well, it is, and there's a difference between a spy and people in special services and intelligence agents, because you know when you say spy, okay, there under that heading there are people like me. First of all, and we are very, very rare illegals who operate under a different identity, no protection, all by themselves. Okay. Then there are the no official cover NOCs. There are people that operate under their own name, and with they go to another country where they have business, or they are like they have something officially to do, and then unofficially they spy. And most of the spies are actually diplomats, and they're under diplomatic protection. Now, having that said, and now within intelligence agencies, there are units such as the CIA and the KGB in those days that are involved in what we call black ops, which is, you know, they're funded units that just go and do shit. I'm sorry. They topple foreign governments. You know, they do just like this. This is not the spy point. This is different. This is a little bit different. And then there are the wet ops, and they involve killings. And I never got anywhere near those.
So your job was, there again, most people may not know this. You initially are from Germany, is that correct?
Yes, born in East Germany.
Born in East Germany, and then you were brought into the KGB. And then the KGB trained you for what purpose? Did you know what they were training you for?
Yeah, they trained me to become an illegal undercover agent. In other words, go under a different name, initially to West Germany, where they had a ton of, where interestingly enough, the Stasi had a lot of spies and illegals, but they wanted their own people in West Germany for some, that means they didn't really trust the Stasi. But anyway, that was originally the plan, and then it turned out that I have an unusual talent to speak a foreign language with just a little bit of an accent that is explainable. So when they found out that I can speak English the way I speak it now, after two years of practicing and training, they said, "Oh my God, he's like the Manchurian Candidate. We can put him in the U.S. You can put him in the U.S. as if he was born there." And in fact, that's what happened.
Got it. So you come to the States. Did you know what your mission was, or
No,
were you just you did? Okay, that's what I was wondering. Did you ever figure it out what it was later
good.
on?
No, this is a really good question because you hit on something that sounds incredible, but it's absolutely true. The KGB was super secretive. I didn't even know which department I reported into. They told me part of the story. They said, well, you ought to, first of all, you become an American, you integrate in society, and then we'll see if you can make contacts with people who conduct foreign policy or influence foreign policy. That was legitimate, but much later, when the KGB didn't exist anymore, I found out via research, direct quotes from heads of the Directorate S illegals, that for them the most important thing for us illegals being in the U.S. was being in the U.S.
That was it.
And here's the reason. Now I put two and two together. At the height of the Cold War, the most successful spies for the KGB were actually moles. In other words, they were U.S. citizens who were Robert Hansen, who was in the FBI, and Aldrich Ames, who was in the CIA. And who did they interact with? They interact with the diplomats. And there was a diplomatic war going on, and the U.S. kicked out like 3 diplomats that they found out did something that they weren't supposed to do, and there was retaliation and back and forth. And Yuri Andropov, who was the head of the KGB at the time, he was president at that time. He was afraid that the diplomatic relations would be broken up, and then who would interact with those 2 super spies? I was never told that what's going to happen in case the Cold War becomes hot.
You never knew.
There would have been instructions, but no, I was not. And I tell you why. Us illegals were the most what's the word here? Most they were the most
right?
they were the most likely to defect because we were supposed to integrate into society, and it wasn't such a surprise that we started liking it. So that's why they kept everything secret.
Got it. Did you ever bump into another spy? You almost like, I'm kind of thinking you probably might be a spy also. Did that ever happen?
No, I met other spies during my travels. I went every 2 years. I went back to Moscow and came back to the United States. So I met spies in third countries to exchange passports or get money or whatever. And not ever in the United States. I met a fellow illegal way later. The guy, I lived in Queens, New York, and he lived in Queens, New York. We didn't know about each other. He was a German, I was a German, and I met him when I went to the Berlin Spy Museum, and he was an exhibit there, and then we were introduced to each other. We had a long talk.
Get it. And by the way, today, Jack helps executives out to understand what it takes to do exactly what he said. Understand puzzles, put them back together properly, yep, to be more aware of what's going on in their business world as well as their personal world. He works with Fortune 50 and Fortune 100 companies. Very impressive what Jack's been doing. So Jack, what are some red flags to understand when someone is a spy? Now, I want you to think about yourself. If you could analyze yourself going up, red flag, if they would have caught me doing this, someone would have figured out that I'm a spy. What are some red flags?
Red flag, particularly the illegal insider, if somebody's already inside. And I was an insider. I had access, and this is still, that boggles my mind that they didn't bite on that. I worked for an insurance company that insured, I was in the group insurance department, and we insured employees of companies that were in the military industrial complex. Now think about the information that was there. Like you have people who work for Boeing, and they're drug addicts, or they have a child who has a terminal disease for which there's cure only in another country and money is required because the insurance doesn't pay for it. I told them that in Moscow, that I had access to that information. They didn't blink. They were that stupid.
There you go.
And I'm really glad that they didn't blink. But so I did steal some software, and I tell you, if you are alert, you can figure out that somebody's up to no good. First of all, insiders like to get to know other people with whom they don't even work in the company, just to have access. Insiders become friends. They want to do favors, and sometimes they will do favors. Let's say somebody says, I need to access to my computer and I lost it, and I'm in the office. Says, well, give me your password. And so you develop trust relationships with these people, and they don't even think about twice opening the door to you. The other thing is change in behavior. Very, very, overtime. Overtime. All of a sudden, nowadays there's a lot of work from home, so that isn't a little bit different. In those days, you had to go to the office. But overtime also means being on at all times, and also in terms of behavior, spending. People who earn money doing the wrong things, they want to spend it, right? I mean, Aldrich Ames spent tons of money, and it's amazing that he was not discovered much sooner. But it's sort of like the blue wall of silence. He's one of us.
Yeah, but I don't see you spending a lot of money. You seem to be a very conscious, frugal individual.
Yeah, but I did do overtime.
You did do overtime. So Jack, today, of course, the internet.
One more thing.
Yes.
One more thing. And I learned a bunch of technologies that I really didn't need to work, to find ways to find my way into the system. I'm already in, but now I need to use technologies that learning more and acquiring more tools. And I'm talking about cyber particularly because I was in information technology all the time.
Well, but that's what I was wondering, because we're talking about the 80s or 70s and 80s and 90s, right? All right. The internet really wasn't developed the way it is today. So how would you send your reconnaissance and your information back to the KGB? How would you deliver that?
Yeah, they're really awkward. Via snail mail with letters in secret writing to what we call convenience addresses, like third countries. Like I had a couple of them in Austria and Switzerland, where I could write German, and then I had one in South America. I forgot which country. By that time, I had acquired enough Spanish to write the open text in Spanish, because secret writing means you compose an open text, say, "Dear so and so, I'm glad to. I received your letter. I'm so sorry that your knee is not doing well." And then you just pretend that this was real, and then you put a secret text on it with some kind of a special contact paper.
Got it.
It was very awkward. This took about pretty much all of my Saturday, because I couldn't do this during the week. It took more time, and once you also had to decrypt some information, so that took extra time. So once you do that, and then the rule was to check for surveillance for about 3 hours before you put this thing into a mailbox. Somewhere near the return address, you put on that letter. And
Very tactical on how you did everything. Jack, what got you out of the industry? What was the last, hey, I got to get out, or were you fired? I don't know. What's the process? What happens?
No, I wasn't fired. As a matter of fact, 2 years before I got out, I got the second highest decoration of the Soviet Union, the Order of the Red Banner. And this is not me misremembering. They sent this to me. The information coming my way came through shortwave radio. So decrypted, da 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 da, that kind of stuff. And one day I got this transmission. Congratulations, comrade. You have been awarded the Order of the Red Banner. This has been confirmed by my son, because they gave the order to my German wife. Okay, so he has seen it. She still is in possession of that. That was the second highest decoration of the Soviet Union, not the KGB, mind you, the Soviet Union.
Wow, that's amazing.
So the point being is, I must have, compared to probably all the other guys that they sent out, this was a job that was bound to fail, and I got through. So and the Order of the Red Banner was that high. I tell you that it was given to members of the Rosenberg spy ring, who wound up in the Soviet Union, and the Rosenberg spy ring stole the atomic secret. Okay, so I got that. So no firing. I resigned.
You resigned. And was that a clean separation, or did you worry for your life when that happened?
Well, I lied myself through it. The reason I resigned was somehow they got spooked, and they were extremely protective of us illegals, because we were like very, very expensive assets. Find us, train us, maintain us, and they wouldn't want us in jail, okay? Because then they would have to get us out. Otherwise, nobody would ever sign up for their job again, right? Not because they loved us, but it's just, when I signed up, I knew that they would get me out. They promised me if I wound up in jail. So, and somehow somebody must have told them that the FBI knows that there is some illegal somewhere in the Northeast, and they figured it could have been me. So I got this this red dot on my way to work on a beam supporting the elevated subway going from Queens to New York. There was this fist-sized red dot, and that said, "Emergency, get out of the country immediately." Okay, now, this was an order: get out of the country. And I wasn't prepared. So this is really important to mention. It had nothing to do with me at that point having ditched communist ideology completely, and having fallen in love with the United States and capitalism. Even though I had a good job, made good money, and all that, me not going had to do with the fact that I had an 18-month-old daughter in the United States, and that was the moment when I turned into a functioning human being, because
wait, a functioning human. You were a functioning human being before, but you're saying you became a part of society.
No. Let me rephrase it. I became a real human, and not some a-hole who was just like all about himself.
See, I've known you for a few years. I could never see you be that a-hole of what you described.
I was very proud of myself. Everything I touched, I did well.
Yeah,
I was the best bike messenger in Manhattan, Ken.
I get it, but you're such an empathetic human being that
Yeah.
I mean, you feel constantly. So this other person,
Okay.
to me, is a character
Then,
that, I believe you, but it just blows my mind.
Let me rephrase it. I had failed in love multiple times, and I just didn't know how to love and what love was, particularly not unconditional love for a child. Okay, and that I was not even aware of it, but I couldn't leave this girl. I mean, I loved her so much. And you have children, you know what it's like, particularly when you have a girl. And I know your daughter. When you get to hold the daughter, and she was so pretty, and I just couldn't leave her. It was impossible. And I defied the KGB. I wished that they were right, that the FBI was about to arrest me. So there was only downside to me if I stayed with her. But if I left her and her mother, she would have grown up in poverty, because mom had 4 years of. She was born in a foreign country. She had only 4 years of schooling. So, yeah, and what awaited me over there back in behind the wall, because the wall was still up, was a hero status, because I told you I got this medal, and I would have joined the ruling elite. I would have been able to travel to the West on special assignments, and they promised me a house. I had dollar savings, and yet, what won was this little girl, which
Was love. Love of a daughter. I get it. Jack, 10 years ago, I think it was May of 2015 is when you were on 60 Minutes. That was
10
the
years ago.
segment.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah. Was that a risk?
Yeah.
Was it? I mean, you literally came out saying, hey, I'm a former KGB agent. This is what I did.
No. I was already working with the FBI, but I was not out in public. And it was a risk simply because I worked for a company that had very, very high security requirements. Electric Energy. I can't name the company because I'm under an NDA still. Well, so when 60 Minutes knocks on your door, and you know one of those days you want to actually go public with your story, you want to write a book.
That's the place to go.
You can't start any better. Well, but as a result, and so I discussed it with my wife at the time, and we both decided that this came from God. We're both Christians, and so I took the risk. I did not violate any company policy, but the board let me go with a nice severance.
Well, they let you go then.
Now, on Monday, so the show aired on Sunday, and on Monday, I was told to go home, and then they were going to fire me, and I was going to sue them because I had not broken any rules. So we sat down and we separated amicably, and that's how I became a public figure. From that on, that gave me time to write the book. That took about a year, and to get into public speaking.
What you do now?
I love public speaking.
He public speaks, like I said, he helps out. Let's go after executives. Let's go after people that have to make really important decisions. And how do they do it properly? Jack gives them all the tools to do that. Last thing, Jack, AI, of course, has exploded. It's everywhere. How do you see AI? Do you see it as a tool for goodness, or do you see it as a tool that could actually be super dangerous?
Well, same as nuclear weapons. It depends who uses and runs it, for sure. I mean, I use it now on a daily basis, and you do too. It's a phenomenal tool, but I tell you where the real danger is, and it's in the artificial personas on the internet that existed even prior to AI. I have a friend who is very good at making those and running them. You don't know that you're befriending somebody on Facebook who is not real, because they're so well constructed. And even if you do research, they have attorneys, they have doctors, and you know who started this really well? The Russians. The Russians were well ahead of us.
Right back to the beginning.
But what I'm now concerned about down the road, you combine artificial personas with robotics technology, that we would have to invent something, a mark that indicates that proves that we are human and not robots. And you know about the Isaac Asimov, the laws of robotics.
Tell us, Jack. Go ahead.
I forgot all three of them, but do no harm, and never do any harm against. That's the first law. There's just, fundamentally, we're going to get there with technology that robots will be indistinguishable from people who have a soul.
Powerful. So, Jack, if people want to find you, what's the best way? JackBarsky.com?
No, LinkedIn.
LinkedIn. There you go.
All my contact information, my phone number, and my email is on my LinkedIn profile.
There you go.
And I have yet to unless it's really a kook who reaches out, I respond to everybody who reaches out. It's
I know
just
you
like
do.
when somebody takes the effort to say hello, I gotta say hello back.
The link will be inside the article about Jack, how to get to his LinkedIn. Jack Barsky, thanks a lot for hanging out with me today. Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, and thank you for asking couple of questions that were brand new, because I always challenge interviewers. Ask me something that hasn't been asked before. You managed.
Thanks, Jack.
All right, take it easy.